current electricity. The current electricity can be utilized to run varieties of electrical appliances. It is used for the transportation as well as it is used to run industries and factories that are present across the world. This electricity can be stored. The huge amount of electricity that is generated from the hydropower stations can be stored as well as it can be transferred with the help of varieties of electric cells. Electric cells are basically different types of devices that are made from the conductors. Yes, as we have already studied, electric cells are the devices that are made from varieties of the conductors that can easily convert one form of energy into the another form of energy. In some cases, the chemical energy, or we can say in most of the cases, the chemical energy that is stored inside the electric cells are generally converted into the electric energy with the help of the cell or with the help of the electric cell. So basically, a cell is a device that is made up of conductors that can easily convert chemical energy into electrical energy. So basically, there are these two types of cells, simple cell as well as dry cell, which can easily convert chemical energy into electrical energy. Beside these, there is also presence of another type of cell that can easily convert solar energy into electrical energy, which is regarded as a photovoltaic cell. Out of these three, we have already studied the simple cell that are found in our surrounding area. So can you tell me what is simple cell made up of?
Sulfuric acid, copper.
Yes. Copper, sulfuric, and zinc.
Copper, sulfuric, and zinc.
Okay. So the simple cells are the devices that generally comprises of two metal plates that are dipped inside the dilute sulfuric acid solution. Here the two metal plates generally act as the electrolyte and generally acts as the electrodes of the cell, and the sulfuric acid generally acts as the electrolyte that dissociates or that decomposes during the electrolysis process. The dilute sulfuric acid generally decomposes into hydrogen ions as well as sulfuric ions whenever the electric current flows through it, whenever the electric wire is connected with the copper plate and the zinc plate. The electrolyte or the dilute sulfuric acid will be decomposed as the H plus ion and SO4 minus ion, because of which the electric current or the electron generally flows from zinc to copper. So the simple cell is very, very simple in structure. They can be utilized in the vehicles. They can be used in larger number of industries and factories, but they cannot be used in the smaller devices of that torch, calculator, or that transistor, because they are really bigger in size for the substances like these, where very smaller batteries can be utilized. So last time we have already studied about the simple cell. Similarly, we also studied about the defects that are present in the simple cell, which is called as the polarization and the local action. Yes or no? We have already studied about the two different defects that are present in the simple cell, that may be present in the simple cell, which is known as the polarization and the local action. Polarization simply means a process in which the hydrogen gas that is produced during the composition of the sulfuric acid gets deposited above the layer of the copper plate, because of this hydrogen ions that are supposed to be deposited on the copper plate will not be able to get deposited. Because of this, the cell will not work for a longer period of time. For the polarization to be corrected, we need to clean the copper plate time and again. By brushing off time and again, by brushing off the hydrogen bubbles that are present in the copper plate time and again, we can easily stop the polarization process. Besides these, we can also use the chemical potassium dichromate in the acid, so that whenever the hydrogen gas is formed, the hydrogen gas reacts with the potassium dichromate, and then it will be again converted into the water without any difficulty. Now, the next effect that is present in the simple cell is local action. The next effect that is present in the simple cell is local action. As we all are very familiar, the simple cell not only comprises of the copper as an electrode, but the simple cell also comprises of the zinc as an electrode. So the combined zinc or the zinc is used in a cell, and this zinc generally comprises of a larger amount of impurities. The zinc that is used as the electrode in a cell generally comprises of a larger amount of impurities. That is, it may contain the impurities such as carbon, or it may contain the impurities such as iron. So, because of these impurities that are present in the zinc plate itself, the local action is set up. Local action is set up between the zinc and the impurities that is present within the electrode. That means within the zinc electrode itself, larger number of the chemical reactions may take place, which is regarded as the local action, or the local current is developed on the zinc plate itself. Because of this, the zinc plate will get eroded easily. The zinc plate continuously get eroded, due to which the life of the cell may get decreased. The local action or the local current that is produced on the zinc plate itself cannot be utilized. It is just the wastage of energy that is produced by the simple cell. This local action generally reduces the life of the cell, as well as it also reduces the overall functioning of the zinc plate that is present in the simple cell. To control the local action, we can simply use the zinc plate that are made up of pure zinc, the zinc that does not contain any impurities of copper or any impurities of iron. So type of pure zinc plate can be used to use the local action. Besides these, the zinc plate can also be coated with the mercury, so that the erosion of the mercury do not take place due to the local current that flows through the zinc plate itself. The local action can be avoided by covering it with the mercury, or we can also use a pure zinc plate for the proper functioning of the cell, so that the impurities will not be present, so that the local current will not be developed, and the cell will be prolonged in its life. Clear, everyone? Clear up to here? Yes? Okay. So now next one is the dry cell. What do you mean by dry cell? Can you tell me? What is dry cell?
A cell which is constructed without using any liquid is called dry cell.
A cell which is constructed without using any type of liquid is regarded as dry cell. So instead of any type of liquid, used, what does the dry cell comprise of? What is dry cell made of?
Battery.
Okay. So first of all, can you tell me why a dry cell is called dry cell? Yes. Why dry cell is called dry cell?
Ma'am, because it does not contain any liquid substances.
Not contain any liquid. Dry cell is known as dry cell because it does not consist of any type of liquid. Any type of liquid substances are not present inside the dry cell, because of which it is known as dry cell. Instead of dry, it comprises of larger number of other chemical substances. Dry cell generally comprises of varieties of chemical substances, as you can see in the picture also. It comprises of the zinc, it comprises of carbon powder, manganese dioxide, ammonium chloride, as well as the carbon rod, and zinc work as an electrode that is present in the dry cell. But any type of liquid substances, like that in the simple cell, is not present in case of dry cell. A simple dry cell generally comprises of a zinc container. A simple dry cell generally comprises of a zinc container, as you can see here. Yes, a container that is made up of zinc. This zinc is covered by a plastic wrap. from outside. The zinc container or the zinc case is generally covered with plastic wrap or generally covered with a plastic cover. Inside the zinc container, we can find several types of chemicals. Several types of chemicals are found inside the zinc container, which undergoes chemical reactions and releases the electricity whenever the positive and negative terminal of the cells come in contact with each other through varieties of the means. So, this carbon rod is fixed at the middle of the container. The carbon rod is fixed at the middle of the container, but it is placed in such a way that it will not touch a zinc plate that is present at the outermost part of the particular battery or the dry cell. So, besides the carbon rod, it comprises of several other chemical substances. Outside the carbon rod, there is a mixture of aluminum chloride. Aluminum chloride is present just outside the carbon rod. Outside to this aluminum chloride, we can find another layer of the chemical that is wrapped inside a muslin bag, which is known as carbon powder and manganese dioxide. The mixture of carbon powder and manganese dioxide is put or kept inside the can or kept inside the muslin cloth, which forms the layer around the carbon rod. Similarly, there is also present the aluminum chloride, as I have already told you, which is also kept in between the carbon powder and manganese oxide and the carbon rod. The one end of the battery or one end of the dry cell is generally, the open end of the dry cell is generally coated with the wax or sealed with the wax. Generally, we can find it is sealed with the plastic material. The plastic-like material is used to seal the open end of the zinc can. Besides this, a brass cap is also given at the upper end of the carbon rod so that it does not have any type of other problems, or if outside problems do not occur, as well as it can be sealed inside properly to protect the materials that are present inside a particular dry cell. So in this particular battery, the zinc cell or the zinc can generally acts as the negative terminal of the cell, and carbon rod and the brass cap generally acts as the positive terminal of the cell. Whenever these two parts are connected with the copper wire that are present in the torchlight or that are present in any other electrical instrument, it supplies the electricity. The chemical reaction takes place as well as by the electricity. Because of this, the torchlight, calculators, or watches, or any other substances can work properly without any difficulty. There are different types of advantages of the dry cell over the simple cell. As you all are very familiar, dry cell do not comply with any type of pollution inside it, so it is very, very convenient for us to carry dry cell from one place to another places. Besides this, it is not so heavier in comparison to the simple cell that can be found in the surrounding area. The general structure of the dry cell or the size of the dry cell is also much more smaller in comparison to the simple cell. Because of this, it is possible we can even carry the batteries or the dry cell inside our pocket, and then it can be easily carried from one place to another places. Besides this, the chemicals that are present inside the dry cells are sealed properly. They are sealed properly, because of which the chances of mishap that may occur during any type of chemical reaction that takes place inside the batteries will not occur, such as in case of the simple cell that are used in the industries or factories, or that are used in the vehicles. Besides these, the dry cells can be found in different shapes as well as different sizes. As per our convenience, we can easily buy varieties of the dry cells from the market area and can be utilized to run varieties of the electrical instruments such as flashlight, radios, remotes of the television, even the dolls present inside our houses can also be easily controlled with the help of the batteries that are with the help of the dry cell or with the help of the battery. Besides this, there is one benefit of the dry cell in comparison to the simple cell that we use in our day-to-day life. As we have already started, simple cell may undergo the polarization process. Because of this, the life of the cell can be reduced and the cell may not function properly for longer period of time. But such actions will be reduced to a greater extent, or such action is prevented in the dry cell. There is presence of the manganese dioxide inside the dry cell, because of which the polarization do not take place inside the dry cell. The only difference that can take place inside the dry cell is local action itself, because the dry cell is made up of larger number of chemical substances, and these chemical substances that is already present inside the dry cell give rise to the local current, may give rise to the local current, because of which it can reduce the life of a dry cell. But if it is stored properly, as well as if all the chemicals are sealed, chemicals inside the batteries are sealed properly, the chances of local action, chances of taking of the local action, or chances of occurring of the local action inside the dry cell will also be very, very lesser in comparison to the simple cell. So we can say there are varieties of the benefits of the dry cell as well as simple cell. Simple cell also has its own benefit, dry cell also have own benefit, but dry cell have much more benefit in comparison to the simple cell. As the dry cell do not comprise of the liquid, they are compact, they can be easily carried from one place to another place, as well as they are very cheaper in comparison to the simple cell. So it runs in the smaller devices, to run the smaller devices like transistors, watches, the electric dolls, flashlights, LED lights, also can be run with the help of the dry cell. But these dry cells cannot be used in the bigger industries and factories, vehicles, and many more other substances, more other vehicles, or many more other electrical devices should be run with the simple cell itself. So we can say both of these cells have their own advantage as well as disadvantage. Both of these cells are equally useful in our day-to-day life. Now the next type of cell, yes. Camera inverters are used, and beside that in the vehicles there is batteries. Vehicles are batteries, or those batteries are also made up of simple cells. Yes. Similarly, industries or factories or we can make use of a simple cell. Okay. So any problem up to here? Sure.
Yes, ma'am.
So can I ask you the difference between simple cell and the dry cell? What is the main difference between simple cell and dry cell? Can you tell me?
Simple cell is difficult to carry, but dry cell is easy to carry.
Dry cell is
easy to carry.
Dry cell is easier to carry. Beside this,
Simple cell is made up of liquid substance.
okay, first of all, tell me, what is simple cell made up of? What is simple cell made up of?
And simple cell is made up of two plates, which is copper and zinc.
Simple cell is made up of two plates called copper and zinc, which is dipped inside the electrolyte called dilute hydroxide AC. Yes. Similarly, what is dry cell made up of? Carbon rod. Carbon rod and zinc can. Only carbon rod and zinc can. Aluminium chloride, carbon powder, yes, manganese, yes or no? Manganese what? Dioxide is utilized to form the dry cell. Yes or no? So next, yes, now Biraro, next.
Then simple cell uses liquid in it, and dry cell do not use liquid in it.
Simple cell use liquid in it, and dry cell do not use liquid inside it. Yes. Besides that, the simple cell, in comparison to the simple cell, it is very, very easier as well as convenient to carry the dry cell from one place to another place. Yes or
Ma'am,
no?
and simple cell is simple in structure and dry cell is a little bit complex compared to simple cell.
Yes, dry cell is a little bit complex in comparison to the simple cell. The defects such as polarization and local action can be found in the simple cell, whereas the chances of polarization in the dry cell is very, very lesser because of the presence of the manganese dioxide inside the dry cell. Yeah?
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes?
Ma'am, in dry cell, why polarization is not present?
Okay, polarization is not present in dry cell because of presence of manganese dioxide. There is presence of a chemical called manganese dioxide. Just now we studied, no? Manganese oxide, a chemical called manganese oxide here is present inside the dry cell. So this manganese oxide does not let the polarization to occur inside the dry cell itself. Polarization generally occurs whenever the electrolyte, whenever a layer of electrolyte gets deposited above one of the electrode. Polarization कति बेला हुन्छ त जब चाहिँ कुनै पनि electrolyte डिकम्पोज भएर कुनै एउटा इलेक्ट्रोडमा गएर डिपोजिट हुन्छ अनि त्यसमा चाहिने जुन सब्स्टान्सेस हो युजफुल सब्स्टान्स हो त्यसलाई चाहिँ डिपोजिट हुन दिँदैन त्यो प्रोसेसलाई चाहिँ हामी के भन्छौँ पोलराइजेसन प्रोसेस भन्छौँ जस्तै इलेक्ट्रोड जस्तै सिम्पल सेलको केसमा के हुन्छ द हाइड्रोजन ग्यासको बबल्स जुन हुन्छ त्यो गएर कपर प्लेटमा लेयर बनाउँछ त्यो लेयरले गर्दाखेरि हाइड्रोजन आयन जुन चाहिँ डिपोजिट हुनुपर्ने हो त्यो डिपोजिट हुन पाउँदैन त्यसलाई चाहिँ हामी पोलराइजेसन प्रोसेस भन्छौँ तर यसमा ड्राई सेल छ ड्राई सेलमा चाहिँ त्यसलाई प्रिभेन्ट गर्ने काम त्यसले गर्छ इट इज डन बाइ मैग्नीज डाइऑक्साइड as manganese dioxide is present previously, it do not let the layer of the carbon powder or do not let the layer of the ammonium chloride to come above any of the electrode, whether it is the zinc plate or the carbon rod. That prevents the polarization of the dry cell. But if there is presence of large number of the chemical inside the dry cell, the local action or the local current may develop because of this. The life of the dry cell may be reduced to a greater extent. Yeah? Okay. Because they are, yes, because they have the potential to spill. The chances of spilling of the chemical inside the simple cell is very, very higher in comparison to the dry cell, as the simple cell consists of the liquid chemical inside it, whereas the dry cell does not comprise of liquid chemical inside it. Clear?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am,
Yes.
ma'am, that cell and tissue 8 number, I didn't understand that question. What is that?
What is the question in 8 number?
Ma'am, which tissue is shown in the figure given below? Where is this tissue located? Right is one major function.
Okay, so can anyone tell the answer for that question?
Ma'am,
Yes,
ma'am,
yes.
may I
anyone
try?
can.
Ma'am,
Yes,
the
anyone
first
can
tissue
try.
is known as meristematic tissue and it is located near the tips of roots and stems. It's one major function. It is to trigger the growth of new cells in young seedlings at the tips of root and shoots and farming buds.
Okay.
Ma'am, we have to
So,
describe about both or only one.
Because
yes,
that
yes.
is the tissue known as meristematic tissue, first one.
Ma'am, I was confused that we describe only one or two. That's it.
Oh, you were confused about. You have done only one tissue. You need to do both. Okay. Both of them are different tissues, as you can see in the picture. Where is the picture? Both of these are different tissue. Yes. The first one is the
Columnar
merismatic tissue
epithelial
and
tissue.
second one is the columnar tissue. We need to write the figure A shows merismatic tissue, whereas figure B is the columnar tissue. Similarly, you need to write the location for both. Where is merismatic tissue located? Where is columnar tissue located? Similarly, you also need to write one function of merismatic tissue as well as the columnar tissue. Both of them are different, so you need to write it separately. Clear?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, and 7 number we should label the picture, yes?
Yes?
Ma'am, and in 7 number we should only label the picture, yes?
Yes, you need to label the picture in 7 number. Just draw the diagram and label the picture.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay?
Yes,
So any
yes,
other problem today we will study up to here. The house wiring system we will study tomorrow.